Hi, this is Tim Yoder with Fit Small Business. Today I'm going to be evaluating Xero accounting software for Chapter 2 of the Fit Small Business case study. Okay, so let's get to our dashboard here. So the first task is to enter a bill from our utility company that we're not paying yet. Okay, so under business, I think we have our bill pay. So bills to pay is kind of like the bill pay center in Xero. So this is our first bill. Let's create it. From New York City Electric Company. So we don't have it set up as a contact yet, but all we have to do is click New Contact, and there we go. It sets it up as a contact. Due date, let's just assume 10 days. Here is where we can attach a receipt. Okay. Item, we don't have an item. This is just a utility bill, so we'll just call it electric. You do have to enter a quantity and price, so we'll just say quantity 1, price $150. Our account, let's do a utilities expense. I don't see a utilities expense, so let's see if we can create one. Account type expense. Let's create, let's call it like 5,050. Utilities. Okay, and save. Okay. Class, let's say this was admin. So we have 3 classes. We want this to be admin. Our locations are New York and Delaware. Let's just do New York for $150. There we go. If we wanted to assign it to a customer, we could do that here. Looks very good. Let's go approve. And there we go. Pretty simple to record a bill. If we wanted to pay the bill, we could pay it right down here. Okay. So now we want to record the purchase of a miter saw by uploading a receipt. There's not a way to do that from within this desktop interface. Now you can upload a bill from the mobile app, but we can't upload a bill from here. Now you can email a bill. So if you have a bill that you have an email for, got email from the company, you can send it to them and they will automatically create a new transaction, create a new bill for you. Okay, so that's actually pretty good. I'm going to count that as being able to upload the receipt. All you'd have to do is attach it to an email and you can email in the receipt. Okay, good. So good. So let's go ahead and record the purchase of the miter saw. We're going to record the purchase. It's the purchase on a credit card. But we don't want to record the bill first, so let's see if we can just go directly to spend money here. Excellent. So the reason these 2 accounts are showing up is when I set up the chart of accounts, I said make this account available for payments. So we are going to pay this out of our credit card account. Okay, and so let's see what our choices are. Okay, direct payment to Lowe's, new contact. Okay, item, we're just going to call this tools. One for say $300. Let's just throw it in another expense account. Okay, say this was for HVAC and the New York location. Great. Okay, we could assign that to an expense account, and if we just save it, and there we go. So this was paid immediately. So this is if you pay an expense immediately versus receive an invoice, you want to go to the spend now button. Okay. Next task, record a recurring monthly expense of $150 for telephone service. So again, we don't want to receive a bill for this every month. We just want to record the expense. So I'm going to go here. I'm going to go spend money. I wonder if I can make this a recurring spend money. So we're going to do it out of the checking account. I'm not seeing a way to make this a recurring expense. Okay, so we're going to have to go about this another way here. So we're going to have to go, let's go to your bills to pay. I know you can do a recurring bill. Okay, so let's do a new repeating bill. Okay, repeat every transaction on the 5th. The bill date's the 5th. We'll just say it's due the following month. No end date. Say we automatically approve it. And the bill is going to be for telephone service. We'll call it New York City Telephone. Okay. And assign it to our admin and the location. Okay, so we can save this. But that didn't record the payment, that just simply recorded the bill. Okay, so if we come over here to awaiting payment, right, we can see the telephone bill. So every month it's going to automatically pop up here, but it's not going to be paid. We're going to have to click into it and pay it. So let's go ahead and pay this. Okay, so not quite as good as some other software. It will make your bill recurring, but it can't create a recurring charge directly out of your checking account. So let's go ahead and score some of the stuff we've done. Creating a vendor was super fast. You can just do it right on the fly. You can record an expense without paying it. You can record the expense due date. You can attach a copy of the receipt. Send a copy of the receipt through the app. We didn't evaluate that, but I do know you can do that. We'll look at that more in the mobile app. Is the receipt a read and transaction created or just attached? It does create the transaction if you email the receipt in. If you attach the receipt, it's just attaching it, but you can email the receipt in. Can you create a recurring expense? I'm only going to give it half a point there. And the reason being that you can record a recurring bill, but not the payment. Okay, so let's get into some inventory functions. So the next thing is to set up an inventory item for plumbing widgets with a purchase price of $10 and a sales price of $25. So let's go to business and products and services. We want to set up a product for plumbing widgets. Okay. Let's set up a new item. The code is just the short code for whatever you want. I'm just going to say PW for plumbing widgets. Okay, we're going to track this as an inventory item so that we can track the quantity. It's going to show up on our balance sheet as an inventory asset. Love it. The purchase price is going to be $10 per unit. Cost of goods sold, so when we sell them, the cost of it is going to be transferred from the inventory account on the balance sheet to the cost of goods sold account on the income statement. And we're going to call it plumbing widgets. Now when we sell them, we're going to sell them for $25 a piece, and we're going to show that sale in our sales account and describe them as plumbing widgets. Awesome. Could not get any easier than that. That's all the information we needed for the plumbing widgets. Okay, now let's record a purchase of those widgets. Let's record 150 widgets purchased from the widgets guy for $10 each. So let's go to, let's see. Oh, actually we want to do a purchase order, not the purchase yet. So I think we have a separate place here, right here, purchase orders. Okay, let's do a new purchase order. For the widgets guy. Let him know it's a new contact. Okay. Item. Now we've already entered the plumbing widget, so all we got to do is type in the code there. It's going to bring up the description, the unit price, the account that we're supposed to record it to, all very easily. We're setting a purchase order for 150 units. Class will be plumbing. Location, New York City. Excellent. Well, there is our purchase order. Very easy. Okay. Next, we're going to receive 100 of those widgets ordered for $10 per unit. The invoice is, and okay, so then we need to date the invoice. So this is where things are going to get a little complicated. So we're not going to receive all 150 of these plumbing widgets. We only want to receive 100 of them. Okay, so what if we just click the mark as billed? What are our other options? Copy to okay, so let's copy this to a bill. So this would be as fully billed. Can we mark it as only partially billed? Okay, so the widgets guy, let's change this quantity to 100. Okay, and hit approve. Due date cannot be empty. Okay, so now let's go to our bill center. Okay, and we show we owe the widgets guy $1,000. That's excellent. Now let's go to our purchase orders. Okay. Purchase orders. See, here's the problem. It's still showing all $1,500. We've satisfied. We've already been billed for $1,000 of that. And so that is a problem I found with Xero here. So I think you either have to receive the entire purchase order or none of it. So we can go in here. And I guess what we could do is we could manually change this. Go to edit. But then it's not going to, it doesn't show us the paper trail. So this really is not a great way to do this. But we could change this to quantity of 50 because we've already received 100 of them. Okay, so now let's go and look at our detail here in our products and services. So we have 100 on hand. That is correct. We've received 100. Average cost of $10. Quantity on purchase order is 50. So good. All of that stuff looks great, but the system didn't work perfectly because I want to be able to receive 100 of the 150 automatically. That's not what happened. I created the bill for the 100. It didn't take them out of the purchase order, so I went back to the purchase order and I had to manually change it to where there's only 50 outstanding on the purchase order. Okay, good. So let's grade that here. Create an inventory item. Yes, super great. Very easy to do. Record the purchase order. Convert the purchase order to a bill. I'll go ahead and give it credit there. Create a bill for the purchase of inventory. Yes. View inventory available. That worked really good. That was the 100. View inventory on purchase order. So I'm only going to give that a half a point. And here, the amount on the purchase order is incorrect if you receive only a portion of the purchase order. Remember, we had to go in and manually correct that in order to get it right. Okay. So let's do a few more of our inventory transactions here before we evaluate any more. Okay, so now we receive the remaining 50 widgets, but at a price of $11 per unit. Okay, so let's go back here, and we still have that purchase order of 50. So this time, instead of let's see our options here. New adjustment. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, sorry. So here, if we need to manually adjust our plumbing widgets, so somebody stole a plumbing widget, we can do that, or a plumbing widget got broken, we can manually adjust our plumbing widgets. Okay, so we need to go to, we're going to receive a bill for the last 50 units received. And this time we're going to do it a little different way. We're going to do it from the bill screen instead of the purchase order screen. So let's do a new bill. And this is pretty cool how Xero does this. So I'm going to say from the widgets guy. And when I do that, it pulls this up and says we have a purchase order available. Do you want to copy line items to this bill? And I'm going to say yes. And then we're going to mark it as billed. And it's going to pull over those last 50 units. Okay. However, for whatever reason, we're going to have to pay $11 a unit instead of 50. That's just from the case study. Great. Everything else looks good. Let's approve this. Excellent. Okay. So, due date cannot be empty. There we go. So bills to pay. That looks correct. Let's go check out our products and services again here. We should now have 150 on hand and nothing on purchase order. Excellent. 150 on hand. Average cost is $10.33 because we had to pay $11 for 50 of them, or for 500 of them. Good. Total. They call this total value. It's really total cost. And nothing on quantity. Nothing on purchase order. So fantastic. Okay, so let's do some scoring here. View total cost of the total cost of inventory on hand. Yes. View the total units of inventory on hand. Yes. Okay. Now let's get into our project accounting. So to activate the project accounting, so notice there's no project up here in the menu to activate it. We need to come over here and we need to do projects. Okay, get started. And we don't need to invite any additional users. Okay, so here we go. So now we're in our projects. We need to create a new project. First, we can start with it as a draft. So for our new project, the study tells us we're going to make it for a customer called Family Bowling. Okay. Save the contact. Okay, so for Family Bowling, the project name is going to be Bathroom Renovation. I'm not going to put a deadline on it. An estimate, we're not going to do an estimate for this one. We might work with that in the next chapter. So let's go ahead and create it. Okay, so right now we have this as a draft. So we don't want to. We need to actually activate this, make it in progress, in order for us to be able to bill expenses to it. So let's see. How do we do that? I think we can change the status to in progress. Okay, now that it's in progress, we'll be able to attach expenses to it. Okay, let's see. Yeah. Okay, so let's go on here. So you pay Hank independent for contract work. You pay Hank $30 per hour for 40 hours. Now we can't use the time tab here because Hank's not an employee. So this is only for employees. We don't have payroll activated. So we can't use the time feature here, but that's okay. It really makes sense to enter it as it's not really payroll. It's an expense. He's an independent contractor. So let's just go to our spend money. We're not receiving a bill here, so we're just going to record it directly as an expense out of our checking account. Oh, you know what? Before we do this, we want to set up an item. So we're paying him for contract labor, paying him $30 an hour. We're going to eventually bill $80 an hour. So let's set him up. Let's set up that contract labor as a service item. It'll make things go much quicker. So we have a new item. I'm just going to use the code labor, and this is our contract labor. We're not going to track it because obviously it's not inventory. When we purchase it, we're going to spend $30. Our purchases account, so our income statement account is going to be, I believe we have a subcontractor's account. Okay, and when we sell it, we're going to sell it for $80. And that is just going to go into our regular sales account. Okay, excellent. And save. Okay, now let's go to our spend money account, spend money function. We're going to spend it from our checking account. We are going to pay Hank Independent, who is a new contact. We are going to pay him, item is labor, $30 per hour. We're paying him for 40 hours. And this is plumbing in New York. Okay, so that's our bill. Now, with the project accounting, it's important we come down here and we assign it to a project. Okay, so let's find our project. I think it was called bathroom renovation. There we go, bathroom renovation for family bowling. Very good. We're going to assign that contract labor to that project. Hit OK. Excellent. Look at that. Very cool. And now we can hit save. And we've recorded a payment out of our checking account for contract labor. Now let's do the same thing for a permit fee, and let's see if we can pass this expense through. Okay, so we're not going to use an item here. Actually, it asks us to set it up as an item if we can. Let's not set it up as an item. I want to see what happens with that. So let's go spend money from our checking account. We're going to pay this to, we'll just say New York City. It's a permit. Okay, now we don't have an item, so we're just going to describe it as a permit. One at $200. The account is going to be, oh, I don't know, we have like, Actually, we want it to be some sort of cost of goods sold account. Yeah, it's okay. Let's just call it business licenses. Okay, there we go. And again, we need to assign it to our customer or project. Okay. Sorry, bathroom renovation. We're going to assign our permit to that bathroom renovation. Okay. Excellent. There we go. So save. And it looks like we can do that just fine. We don't have to have it as an item in order to save it to that project. Okay, so now it asks us to view the expenses incurred but not yet invoiced on the bathroom renovation. So we now have a projects tab since we've activated it. So let's go to projects. And let's look at our family bowling renovation. Good. And it looks like we have $3,400 of time and expenses not invoiced. So we have contract labor and permit. Good. Okay, notice these are the amounts. This 3,200 is the amount we're going to charge them for the labor, not the amount. Yeah, here's the cost of 1,200. Okay, excellent. Let's look at what else we've got here. So we've got profitability, $1,400. Okay, so negative 1,400 because we haven't actually invoiced anything yet. Okay, so asks us to view the unpaid bills, view the list of vendors, and view the list of transactions by vendor. Okay, so now that we've entered some bills, let's just go to bills to pay. All these bills are awaiting payment. Very good. Can we show those by vendor? Sure, we can sort by vendor, right? That would show us the bills by vendor. Another place would be to go to contacts. Look at they call them suppliers, I call them vendors. Okay, and here we go. We have our list of vendors. We have how much we owe to each vendor. If we drill down into that vendor, we have a list of the separate bills being weighted. And then we have a transaction history. So really great detail by vendor without ever having to go to a report. So let's go grade this in our rubric. So create a project, piece of cake. We'll come back to this one in a second. So independent contractors tracking their 1099 payments. So we were able to create a service item for the contract labor. We were able to give that a default cost and a default sales price. We were able to pay using that service item. We were able to mark that as billable to a customer and actually even to a project. We were then easily able to view the unpaid bills with the vendors and summarized by vendor, transactions by vendor. So all really, really easy. So let's look at this create an independent contractor for 1099 payments. There is a way to do that, but I need to think a little bit about where that was. Was it in accounting? I think it was accounting. I think it's actually in the reports, which was a little weird. So I think within this reports, you can find here, there's a 1099 report. Okay, set up 1099s. Okay, and then you can go through and select which, here we go, find and select your 1099 contacts. So our only one would be Hank. So we're going to say he's a sole proprietor, and we're going to add him to our 1099 group. Save. Okay, there we go. So at the end of the year, we'll be able to print a 1099 report with all the payments to Hank. So it looks like you can actually really customize that really nicely. Good. So I think that answers our question. Very good. Okay, moving on here. Record the e-payment of a bill. Yeah, we can do that. That was when we just went to. Actually, let's show how we do that here. Let's close that. So this was, we want to pay one of the open bills. So let's record the utility bill being paid electronically. So let's go to our bills to pay. This $150, that's awaiting payment. Let's pay this electronically. Very easy to do. We'll just pay it from our checking. And I think as long as we don't click the pay by check, we can just record it as a electronic transfer. Piece of cake. Next thing, pay the $1,000 owed to the widgets guy with a check. Okay, here's this $1,000. Date paid. Let's keep using today's date. Paid from our checking account, but this time we want to pay it with a check. Okay, gives us our check number, so make sure that matches what's in your printer. We'll say we're going to start with check number 1000. Paid to the widgets guy. Obviously, you want to make sure that you've got all of your information, address, and such updated in that. And now we can save and print the PDF. Oh, looks like we can actually choose some check styles. And let's see what the PDF looks like. Okay, there we go. So it does give us a reference number of the purchase order that it was related to. I would thought it would give us maybe the bill number. But okay, so there we go. So obviously, all the account information is blank. That needs to be on the check that you've put into your printer, and there you go. You can print checks. Very cool, very easy. Okay, that was easy to do. Let's see what's next here. Pay $400 of the $550 owed to the widgets guy. I'm going to do it with a check again. So here we owe $550. So the key here is we're trying to decide, can we make a short payment? And I think we can. So we owe $550. Well, let's just change the payment to $400. So we're short paying them. And again, sure, we can pay by a check. This time, good, it automatically rolled the check forward to the next one, which is 1001, and we can hit save and print PDF. Okay, very good. Now, this outstanding bill shows that we still owe $150, that we paid $400, so that's perfect. Okay, we were able to short pay that bill. Okay, so let's score what we've done here. Print a check from the program. Yes. Okay, let me delete my comment there because that is not correct. Record a check number. Yes, we're able to do that. Okay, moving on to vendor credits. So the next thing is, let's return one plumbing widget to the widgets guy for a refund of $11. He issues a credit that can be applied toward future purchases. Okay, well, new credit note right here. So we're in our bills homepage, our bills center. Let's hit a new credit note from the widgets guy. Okay, item is a plumbing widget. We've returned one that we had paid $11 for. Okay, very, very important here that we're using this item, because not only is this going to give us an $11 credit, it's going to adjust our inventory on hand because we're returning 11, or we're returning 1 unit. So this should be plumbing and New York. Excellent, $11. Looks good. Now let's hit approve. Okay, so now it looks and it shows us that we already have a bill outstanding to the widgets guy for $150. Do we want to apply that credit to that bill? And I'm just going to say no. I don't want to do that. I want to save that credit. I want to apply it to a different bill. I may not want to pay him that $150 for some reason. So I'm going to cancel it. I want to keep that credit unapplied so I can do what I want with it later. Okay, so let's look at our bills now. Very good. We've got an $11 credit from the widgets guy. Fantastic. Let's look at our inventory, and we make sure it reflects the fact that we have returned 1 plumbing widget. Fantastic. Quantity on hand is now 149. Okay. Very, very good. Let's see what's next here. Okay, now we purchased 10 plumbing widgets for $11 each, and we want to apply that $11 credit. I tell you what, while we're here in plumbing widgets, let's go ahead. It looks like this purchase price must have been, the purchase price increase was permanent. So let's go ahead and we're going to change it from $10 to $11. Okay, save. Notice it did not change the average cost or the total value here. That's historical information. All we did was change the amount that's going to auto-populate into our purchase forms. Okay, so let's purchase 10 plumbing widgets for $11, issue a check for the bill, but after applying the $11 credit towards the purchase. So let's see if we can do this as a spend cash. I'm not exactly sure. We might have to do a bill. It's going to come from our checking account. Okay, to the widgets guy. Okay, pay by check. Item or plumbing widgets. And we're going to do 10 of them. Okay, so there's the 110, but let's see. So when I hit save, hopefully it's going to ask me if I want to, let's make sure we don't have something here, direct payment. Okay, I'm going to hit save, and hopefully it's going to ask me if I want to apply our $11 credit. It did not. Okay. I do not want to do that. So let's cancel out of this whole thing. So for some reason we weren't able to do it as a direct spend, but I'm pretty sure we can do it if we do it through the bill center. So let's go to bills to pay. Okay, so let's do a new bill from the widgets guy. Why in the world isn't it bringing them up? Okay, new bill. There we go. Okay, I don't know what happened before. The widgets guy. Got to give it a due date. Plumbing widgets. 10 of them. Make sure you always give it a class and a location. Okay, now let's hit save or approve. Okay, so now we've approved it. Do we want to allocate this $11 to the outstanding credit? Yes. Add the $11 outstanding credit to this bill. Yes. Okay, so this $11, how much do we want to allocate to this bill? All $11 of it. So the amount remaining is $99, and we want to pay that. And I think we said we want to pay it with a check. Okay, and I'm just going to save it. We don't have to print it, but obviously you normally would print it. Okay, there we go. Okay, that is it for chapter 2. Let's go ahead and score those last few things we did. Record a credit from the vendor, piece of cake. It did automatically decrease the inventory for the items we returned, for that one unit we returned. We were able to apply the credit to the new invoice. We short paid an invoice. And subjective ease of use, I'm going to give it very, very high. It can always be a little bit easier, but there's some learning curve involved. But once you learn it, it really works nicely. So I'm going to give it a 0.9 out of 1. Very high for the ease of use. Okay, and that's chapter 2 of the Fit Small Business case study for Xero.